All right, guys, Cody here. Uh, just got a message a couple hours ago. I was planning on making a video soon, and thought this would be a good time to one, answer that question, and two, expand on it a little more. So those of you that are interested in pursuing a career in DS will understand the promotion system and how the system works. So that's what I'll be talking about, promotions here in this video. First off, DS agents are special agents. We talked about that in other videos. You have all the rights, responsibilities, again, where we have our specific duties of protection and security management and criminal investigations with a limited scope. We still have the badge and the authority as anyone else, DEA, FBI, you name it. But we are on what's called the FS scale. So we're not on the GS scale. FS means foreign service. GS, I believe, is general schedule or general scale or general service. When you're a DS agent, you are an FS 2501. You are not a GS 1811. You are a GS 1811 equivalent. Now, what that means is you're still a special agent, like I mentioned. But if you choose to switch agencies, for example, you are an equivalent. So say you go over to HSI, you go over to Secret Service, ATF, you've already completed the FLETC portion, the CITP, Criminal Investigative Training Program portion, and you would just ideally you're just lateral over, and you would go through their specific training, for example, ATF, probably guns and bombs and shit. And so you are an equivalent. So those of you that are sweating, like, I don't have the 1811 title, it's the same thing. There are exceptions within DS. DS has, I don't know how many, but just about every field office has an actual GS 1811. Those positions are pretty highly sought out. People, when they open up, apply for them. And I think they're pretty much promoted in-house, or they'll get an agent that's already a FS 2501 would generally get those GS 1811 positions, but you got to apply for them just like any other position. And so those guys are domestic, so they don't go overseas. So they're kind of like the continuity in the office, and so they will do their visa passport for all. They also help on domestic protection as well. By far majority, I'd say, if there's 2,400, DS agents, I'd say, this is just throwing numbers out there, but 2,200, 2,250 are actual 2501s, and there's a few 1811s. So just get that. So an FS, generally you'll come in as an FS 6, and they'll step you out. So if you have a military background or something, I came in as FS 6 step 4. If you are in government service already, you might come in at a higher grade. They'll try to keep your same pay. So you might come in as FS 6 and then be a step 12. All right. And the equivalent of FS 6, I think that comes out to like a GS 5 or 7 or 9 or something like that. Not a 9. But what I'm getting at is when you get to an FS 3, and I'll talk about how you get there, that is the equivalent of a GS 13. All right, so if you backstep from there, FS 4 would be your GS 12, and then it kind of jumped. The GS schedule, I think they jump from like 5 to 7 to 9. I'm not as familiar with that, but your GS 13 is the equivalent of your FS 3, approximate equivalent. And so how do you get there? So your promotions, you'll come in as an FS 6, and you'll get promoted each year up until your FS to FS 3. FS 3 becomes competitive. All right, so you get your 5, then you get your 4. I believe it's like a year and a half. Guys that are watching this that are DS agents, you can chime in. But then you get to your FS 4, and your FS 4 becomes your FS 3 after that becomes competitive. So a general time frame for FS 3, I got mine, I think 5 years. I got it on the second go round. Only like 2 agents from my class got it within 4 years. And then I got mine, and then they kind of started to trickle 6 or 7 years. You'll get your FS 3. It's important. The promotion panel goes back, I believe, 5 years. So they'll go back to your first EER, and we'll talk about EERs here in a minute. But they'll go back to your first review, basically, and look at all 5 years back whenever you're eligible for your FS3, which is around the 5-year mark. So look at all 5 of those and see what you did, right? See how many times you volunteered, what innovative solutions you created to, enhancing the capabilities of the field office, or, did you do something special on an SD trip? Like, these are the types of things that you'll put in your EER, which is an employee evaluation report. The EER is every year. I think it's around April, May timeframe, which means the team right now, the DS agents, are in EER season, and it fucking sucks. It's not fun. You got to write a lot. You have what's called a rater, who's basically your direct supervisor who writes on you. And then you have another one that's a reviewer, which is his supervisor who writes on you. So if you're in a field office, you'll have a unit sup that rates you. And then you'll have maybe an ASAC, or maybe even a SAC. I think it'll be the ASAC, which is the assistant special agent in charge, who reviews you. And the rater has you write the most, you're going to say, this is what I did and this is why I'm awesome, right? And then the rater will be like, yeah, Roger that, he's awesome because of this. I remember the times he did this shit and he did a really fucking good job. And the reviewer will say, and his is just like a couple paragraphs, if that, will say, his or her will say, yeah, I agree with the rater's shit. This motherfucker is good, did a good job, and should be promoted. It's like a key line there. They'll put like, should be promoted, recommended promotion at the first available opportunity. Your first few EERs, don't sweat it. You probably won't get those because they know that you got some time until you'll be promoted. When you start getting down to your, I remember this, when you start getting down to your 4th year, your 5th year, when you're about to be eligible for FS3, ask around, but make sure there's that key line there that says from your reviewer and your rater, this person should be promoted for whatever reasons. But your EERs, that you have to hit on a number of different things, and I don't remember all of them. I know like this, when I say different things, I mean there's different kind of sections. There's like substantive knowledge, innovative thinking. That's not one of them, but stuff like that. And you'll find, like, when was this time when I really used the knowledge that I learned in BSAC and I applied it to this criminal case and I fucking nailed it, right? Or when was the time I used technology and applied it in this case? Again, I don't remember I think it's like 6 that you got to hit. But basically, you got to choose some of those and you got to talk about them and say, here's a story under this category that tells me why I'm awesome, tells people why I'm awesome. And you write on that, and then your rater does their thing, and your reviewer does their thing. And they turn it in, and then there's a review panel, a promotion panel. And it is set up by DS agents and foreign service officers. And there's different levels and grades. And they're always grades higher than you. It's not your peers. And they will review, and they'll take a stack. This guy goes to one pile, this girl goes to this pile. And they keep doing it, and they look at those again. They keep doing it, then finally you learn, all right, we have, 67 available FS2s, and now we whittled it down to 67. And there'll be discussions about if you have 69 that are really good, right? And you have to get to 67. There'll be discussions on who should go. If you're actually any sector, private sector, military, there's only a certain amount of available positions to be an FS2 or an FS3. So imagine, most of your force is FS6s to 4s, then you get to FS3s, then you get to FS2s, and then 1s, then OC, then MC, and then you kind of go up. So FS3 is a great spot to be in. I've heard people use the term journeyman level, but you can be a 3 for a long time, and that's okay. You get to do some pretty fun stuff as a 3. If you want to get your own shop as a shop as in a regional security office, you want to be the top security guy in charge at the embassy or consulate, then a 2 level is a pretty good gig. But 3 and 2 is where it's at. Of course, you get paid more. You go 1, you go OC, but you're limited at those. By the time you get to those, you're gonna have done some headquarters tours. There's some people like, fuck it, I don't want to go to headquarters. I'm just gonna go to field offices. I'm gonna go to Iraq. I might do a ARSOI tour, which is investigator tour overseas. But I don't care about promotions. I'll stay at 3. I'll get my 130 grand a year and call it and just hang. And that's okay too. Some people look at that as shitbaggery. But yeah, you got to judge each individual. Okay, like some people just aren't as motivated to promote. They just want to stay in these worker bee. They don't want to manage people, and I can't fucking blame them all the time. It's just part of it. So anyway, that's kind of how it works. I jumped around a little bit, but basically, coming as an FS6, automatic promotions all the way to up FS4. FS3 becomes competitive. You submit your EERs. They look at 5-year EERs within the last 5 years, and then they begin to promote people based on the performance, that they put within the categories that I cannot remember to tell you about. But someone might be able to list some of those if they listen to this video. So anyway, hope that helps. Appreciate all your support. People watching, thumbs up, asking questions, keep them coming. I'll keep making these videos. I'm starting to think I'm still promoting my book, right? So it's one of the reasons I'm doing this. And I think I'm going to start probably doing a few stories on here. Some stories that didn't make the book for whatever reasons. Maybe they're too sensitive. And I don't mean sensitive as in like classified sensitive. Just there's one that was a suicide that I may talk about that I investigated. I don't know, out of respect for people, I didn't really want to do it. But these are some types of things you'll face. There's some other stories that I think that I just didn't have enough. I think I want to tell. I just didn't have enough information on them, and so for a random informal YouTube story, I could tell the story. I just wouldn't put it in a book because there are details, like specific details that I couldn't or didn't come up with. So I didn't tell them. So anyway, I think I'll make some videos. I've had people ask about anecdotal stories, things that happened, and they appreciated that. And so, I'll do that, and maybe that will help, just give additional information, after the fact, after the book and everything. Book's doing well. Audio book's doing really well. The reviews are pretty good, but they're selling. It's selling pretty good. So I'd encourage you to go listen to it if you don't have it. If you listen to Audible or have iTunes, the book is still selling pretty well. Go check it out. I will add this: if you're an aspiring DS agent, you can look on the reviews, and they'll tell you like, "Hey, this book helped me pass." There's a couple of them there that said this book should be required reading. Not more than a couple. Several says should be required reading, but 2 of them listed that this basically helped me pass the BECS. I don't talk about the BECS, but I talk about situations and how I handle those situations, and my thought process behind that. And when you get into your scenario portion of your BECS panel, it's allegedly pretty helpful. And I'll chat with you guys too. There's also a Facebook group, Becoming a DSS Agent. Just look it up, join, fill out the questions. I'm not going to prove you don't fill out the questions. I don't care who you are. Fill out the questions. It's not hard. Or you're an aspiring federal agent. You don't have to be a DS agent or aspiring. Just yes, and a little bit about yourself and all that. There are people trying to get into the group. They're fucking random as shit from different countries around the world. Oh, I want to be. They can't even speak English hardly. They're trying to get in. So I'm not playing that. If you're too cool to answer the questions, then you're not too cool. You're not cool enough to be in a group. So anyway, answer the questions. I'm on social media besides this YouTube channel, AgentsUnknown_book on Instagram. I am on LinkedIn for you professionals out there. If you want to hit me up there, I don't really post about YouTube, but if you just want to network, then hit me up. I'm on Facebook as well, Agents Unknown. Twitter, hit that up a little bit here and there. I'm most active on Instagram, but I do respond to questions as well. So if you have questions or you want me to speak about something, then send a question, and I'll likely say, in short, here's your answer, but I'll give you a more expansive, rambling answer, as I do on these things, for people to enjoy or not. So anyway, appreciate your time. Send questions if you got them, and y'all have a good, solid, solemn Memorial Day and safe Memorial Day weekend. All right, thanks y'all. Out.